This next application is going to be for iliotibial band friction syndrome, or just iliotibial band pain. The one we're going to do is going to target down at the knee, where the ITB comes down over the knee, not at the hip, but you can apply the same technique at the hip, just mirrored up top, so you don't have to change anything. Just the X pattern that will cross over the knee, you would do at the hip, and the strip that we've got coming up the knee, you would just have higher up over the hip. So that would be the only difference. So what I've done here is measured an eye strip. This one's 35 centimeters. So you've got to start, we're going to start below the knee, roughly where the tibial tuberosity is, below the kneecap, and coming pretty much halfway or above, midway, on the thigh. So we're going to cover a good portion of that iliotibial band. Then we've got two eye strips, 15 centimeters, that we're going to use to cross over that point where the ITB comes down to cross the knee. So we're going to start with the longer strip, the eye strip, and we want to tear the paper backing 5 centimeters from the end and expose that adhesive surface. Now what we'll need to do is put the ITB on a stretch. So you can do this lying down, can't really do it seated, so I'm going to stand up and do this one. So I'm going to start below the knee. Again, we've got tibial tuberosity just below the kneecap, that prominent little bony bump. Now ITB inserts just outside of that tibial tuberosity on that tibia. So we're going to start just next to that tibial tuberosity on the outside of the thigh, so that the tape is directed up the outside of the thigh. So get that anchor adhered to the skin, and then we're going to peel back the paper backing, and now we're going to place the ITB on stretch. So one way you can do it is to place that leg behind the other or in front and bring your hips out to the side. So you're bringing the leg across the body and leaning away so that we get a stretch through the side of the thigh. Then once you've got that on stretch, we're going to run up the outside of the thigh with no stretch or paper off tension on that tape, and making sure we have no stretch on the end. And then give that tape a good rub. Remembering we can use the paper backing to get some friction there through the tape. So we've got our ITB strip on. Then we're going to stick on our two 15 centimeter eye strips. So what we're going to do is take one of those strips and tear the paper backing straight through the center, and then expose that middle 5 centimeters of tape. And then what we're going to do is, using index finger and middle finger. Index finger is going to go away from you on the adhesive side. Sorry, middle finger away from you on the adhesive side. Index finger is going to be on your side of the tape. So you've got middle finger away from you, index finger closer to you. So that way we can get even tension through that tape. And we're going to apply full stretch to that tape. We're going to have the knee 30 degrees of flexion, and we're going to apply right over that outside of the knee, over that ITB as it crosses down over the knee. Full stretch. When you apply this strip, you're going to have to apply it on a diagonal, because what we want to avoid is getting tape in the knee crease at the back of the knee, because that will not only annoy you as you're moving the knee, but it will also prevent that tape from staying on for as long as it should, because there's a lot of movement there at that knee crease. And at the front, going diagonally will help us avoid the kneecap. So we should have a diagonal strip running up with that central tension running through the middle there, full tension. So then what we're going to do with the second strip Once again, tearing through the center, exposing that center 5 centimeters, using index and middle finger, applying full tension, knee still on 30 to 40 degrees of flexion, and then we're going to apply that across that same point but perpendicular to that other 15 centimeter strip. So once again, we're avoiding the knee crease and we're avoiding landing on the patella. And then give that tape a good rub. So remembering that the ends always go with no tension, just tension through the center of the strip. So we've got our yellow long eye strip, paper off or no tension, running up that ITB. And then we've got full tension just through the center of our other 2 eye strips, making a nice cross over the side of the knee, aiming to avoid patella and avoid the knee crease. So that's our application for ITB friction syndrome or ITB pain. And that can also be applied to the ITB at the hip in the same manner. So running the yellow strip starting at the hip and going down the ITB, and then putting the cross over the greater trochanter, which is that prominent bony lump up at the hip. So you can do that also for greater trochanteric bursitis. So there's a few applications you can use this technique for. But that's our ITB at the knee.